Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm so happy to have back on again Michelle Fabre. She has a brand new song out on April 15th. It's called Never Goodbye, and I'm super excited to talk to her all about it. Michelle, thank you so much for coming back on. How are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing really good. I've actually been editing the video for that song,
Ooh, okay, okay.
aiming to also get that out tomorrow. So it's actually my
Amazing.
birthday tomorrow, so that's why I chose.
Hey, awesome. Happy early birthday.
Yeah.
Nice. I wanna dive right into this. We've talked before. I've reviewed your music extensively. This song is right out of the gate, it's different than what you've put out in the past, and I know that it's super meaningful to you. But the song immediately is super packed with emotion. I mean, you can feel the strain and everything in your vocals, and then once you learn what it's about, it all kind of, wraps together and makes sense. So I want to throw it to you for everyone that may not know, what is this song about and what inspired it?
So the song is about my dog's passing, who
Yeah.
passed away on September 20th. And within the writing of the song, I really didn't want to get too much into the specifics of certain aspects. I wanted it to be more general but deep as well.
Yeah.
And really tried to touch upon, the feelings and emotions that I was experiencing at the time, but that everyone else goes through when they experience the loss of a loved one, and even just the meaning of life and death. So I wrote it like about a month after her
Okay.
death, and it was just very it was, this is always like an interesting one, but it was harder to perform in the studio compared to writing it. Because when
Yeah.
you're writing it, you're more in like an introspective state of mind and you're
Hmm.
thinking. But when you're really singing it, that's where like the emotions and the feelings come out. And yeah,
Exactly. Now I feel writing is an interesting thing because a lot of it comes internally, whether you're, sort of like singing to yourself or it's going on in your head. It's not really getting out there. I also think that writing is a form of therapy, whether it be a journal or a diary or writing music or something like that. I think anyone with a pet has unfortunately gone through something like this. So obviously I'm sorry, and I know that you've had time to process it, but it never really gets better because I equate an animal death with a family member. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
They're a family member that is as much a family as, a living human being, and it's terrible. Um, One thing I really enjoyed about this song though is that it's not very outright. You did kind of keep it general, which I enjoy, and I think kind of the magic of music as a whole is that, and maybe I've said this to you before, but it's like people will discover your music. They'll listen to the music for the way that it makes them feel, but they won't
Exactly.
always listen to the words. A lot of the times they'll have the song themselves and they'll make their own conclusions as to what the song is about. And unless you're like, I broke up with someone, or like my dog is not here anymore, it kind of gives them the opportunity to form their own conclusions. Is
Yeah.
that is that how you always write, or I guess what was like the plan going into this in terms of the
Well, I think
lyricism?
in my earlier songs and just my writing style, I think I definitely got a little bit too specific, and it,
Sure.
sometimes I think it took me a minute to just be like, it's nice to be able to share your experiences, but you also do to some extent want an audience to resonate with that. And
Yeah,
sometimes when it's too specific, you're not really giving an audience their own you know, feelings of, their own perspective, their own way of interpreting music, which is kind of what art is meant to do anyway. It's
I agree.
supposed to touch people in their own, way that's unique to them. So definitely with this song, I definitely went into it, in a state of being in that grief and those feelings that I felt at the time, but definitely also wanted it to be very like general. And I think that that's like the beauty of this song too, is that it touches upon all of those areas of life, death, and, losing loved ones.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, in my personal music listening habits, I prefer it that way. because I mean, again, music is just listening or writing is a form of therapy. You listen to music to escape something, you listen to music to make you feel good, and you make whatever conclusions you want out of the words. And I think anyone that listens to this conversation and the song will understand exactly what it's about. But maybe a vast majority of people that don't listen to this, they're going to have to figure it out for themselves, which
Yeah.
I think kind of gives them the opportunity to listen more than once, which they should because the song is beautiful and deserves to be listened to more than once,
Thank you.
but also because it's an escape for people.
Hmm.
Um, and I want to sort of talk about the direction that you've gone here because, a lot of your other music is it's pop forward. It's pop forward. It's feel good music, and I really like that you didn't. Okay, kind of a thought here, but I really enjoyed that. A lot of artists are like super bright pop song, dark lyrics, complete opposite. I think that works to an extent, but I like that you sort of matched up the tone of the song with the meaning of the song. Was that always the plan, or what was like the original blueprint for how you created it?
That's a good question. That's so true what you said. I feel like, to be honest, a lot of times when you listen to music, there's like an extreme either or,
All the
and
time.
there is like no middle ground. And I think with this song, I definitely tried to make it a middle ground where like it is deep and it's sad in its own way, but there's also some type of like positive vibe and connotation to it that you can feel, and it's more like loving rather than just being like sad in a way,
Yeah.
even if it's sad. But yeah, and I think as far as the meaning, I do think that that was, or kind of like the intention behind it too, was to just be like very deep about it and
Yeah.
kind of be able to touch people. Like even with this video that I'm working on. I put I've incorporated a lot of footage of, my dog, of course, but I didn't want it to look too much like a home video where it's like
I
photos.
understand. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
like, you want people to kind of look at it like it's there. Who are they thinking about? Who
Yeah.
is in their life, or, who passed on? Like you want them to have that like emotion that touches them, those thoughts, those images. It always comes with music and art, and then you get like a video behind it. So I've incorporated some footage of me, and now actually after this, I'm going to be taking some footage at this park that I used to go to with my
Okay.
dog as well. And just incorporating like, like life, like trees, bridges,
Sure.
things that are just life, I guess, and just try not to make it too cliche.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing that 99.9% of music listeners will never understand about independent artists is like not only you writing and composing and creating the song, you're literally the director and creator
Mhm.
of everything around it. And I think
Yes.
that obviously it makes your life a little bit more difficult. But at the same time, as a natural creative, it gives you the opportunity to do exactly what you want and fulfill the vision. So
Yes.
I mean, this isn't necessarily a question, but maybe it is. You sit down with pen to paper and you write the song, and then you
Mm.
think the song needs a video. Are there any specific moments that you find the most difficult in those separate creative processes?
Well, what's interesting is that I started making YouTube videos and just learning like the software of, first it was iMovie, then it
Sure.
was like Adobe Premiere when I was about 13. So I
Cool.
started doing that, just making music videos to, popular songs. And it kind of got me into just having like a very creative and visual mindset and mentality. Like when I would
Yeah.
hear my songs, I'm like, oh, I could think about what could be great in a music
Right.
video. So definitely with this song, like I've had a lot of ideas in mind. Of
Yeah.
course, sometimes like again, try not to be too specific, like, but because like for an example, I we did bury my dog in a pet cemetery
Mhm.
in New York, and I kind of wanted to incorporate a little bit of that, but again, not, making it too sad
Yeah.
in a
Too
way.
outright.
Yeah. So I definitely have the like that visual mindset. And like you said, as an independent artist, it's nice to be able to have that creative freedom because I am very what's the word? Like I'm very critical sometimes of, the way that I'm presented in videos or photos. So I like to be able to control that.
Yeah.
Like
Well, yeah.
Fabre.
At the end of the day, you're not hiding behind a band name. You know what I mean? It's not like you're like, okay, band of five or whatever. I think we should do this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your name, it's your image, it's whatever you're projecting to people. And
Yeah.
it's the opinion they're going to form, whether they listen or watch or whatever it is. And I think
Mhm.
that's not necessarily an unnecessary pressure, but again, it goes back to giving you the creative freedom to do whatever you want and express yourself.
Right,
And I
exactly.
think maybe at the end of the day, it would give you closure on the situation because you're doing all these things in memory of something and, kind of wrap up
Yeah, when it's a
that period in
personal,
your life.
yeah, like when it's a personal song too, as such as this one, I
Yeah,
think that you'd want to have like that creative freedom. I can't imagine just throwing it into the hands of someone else who,
exactly. Hey, do what you
yeah,
want, third party video
yeah,
person who has no
yeah,
idea about
right.
me or my life. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that.
I always
Yeah.
say like, at least for me, I feel like I know the best, the best, even like the best angles of myself, the best looks. It's always
I
how
get
it
it.
is.
I get it. I get it. Completely
There have
understood.
been times where like in the past I've given other people an opportunity to, you know, kind of like formulate an image or look at me or just choose video footage of
Yeah.
me. And I just feel like it wasn't always the best ones. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm just like, yeah, I know the best looks of me. And yeah, it's the same thing with everything with
I love
art.
that. And listen, a big thing that I enjoy about your music that we've touched on in the past is that you write from personal experience, which is it's so genuine and the originality comes through flawlessly. And again, a lot of your music has been more pop forward, but it's been meaningful in the lyrics. This one, where the lyrics match up with the tone of the song, is something that I really enjoy. Did you find more difficulties writing a more somber song compared to something more upbeat in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it was really also very hard to formulate kind of the feelings that I was feeling at that time because it was so fresh, especially into words. It's
Yeah.
definitely harder to be able to do that for this type of song. It's kind of just one of those things where like, you go through a breakup or something like that and you could kind of, even though that's very difficult at the time, you could still somewhat kind of formulate your emotions, whether it's, sadness, anger,
Yeah.
it kind of come out in a different way. But in this song, it just, yeah, it was definitely a little bit harder to formulate those feelings into words.
Yeah, absolutely. But I assume a little bit more cathartic, you know what I mean? When it comes
Yeah.
to the personal writing process of like, okay, you said it's been a month since the situation happened. I think I'm ready to start writing about this and processing whatever it was.
Yeah, and also another difference in this song compared to my others is that there's a very big like orchestral section.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that that was kind of unique and special to, compare to anything else that I've ever done. And I like that. I love orchestral music, and especially when it's, fused into like pop and rock. That's
Sure.
beautiful. So,
I agree. Well, that's, I've probably said this in the past too, but it stays true. It's like, I think just with the future of production and where we are with genre barely means anything anymore. Rock
exactly.
music is not rock music, pop music is not pop music. We've made all these different things and we take influences from like chart toppers to try to do our own thing. And it's like, listen, there's nothing wrong with making just a straight punk rock song. You know what I mean? It has its time and place. But if you have the ability to infuse all these different sounds and styles into one thing that makes you you,
Yeah.
then just do it. Cause like,
I think like nowadays, that's
why
what
not?
yeah, that's what I love about today's music is that
Yeah.
different collaborations, you could be a
Yeah.
pop collaborating with anyone really, and it's just so beautiful. And also, I feel like most people, for the most part, if you ask them what, their favorite genre of music is, it's usually like a few different things. There isn't
It's
you
never one.
never one. So that's the thing. It's like, why not be able to incorporate different elements of each of your favorite genres and styles of music? And that's what I try to do. Like
Yeah,
I always am told, like, sometimes I have an 80s vibe. And
sure.
I mean, at first I thought, well, is that like a good thing? Is that, but I kind of have grown to it because the 80s was a great era of music, the 70s, so
Yeah.
like, why not?
Right, it's
you
all
know.
personal preference. It's literally like, what did your parents have on in the car driving around growing up? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
you don't get the aux cable, like it's whatever they put on. And then I
exactly.
feel like, not to derail too much, but just in terms of like, oh, what kind of music do you listen to? It's like, well, we have playlists now. You know what I mean? We have like
Yeah,
specially curated playlists that show you a little bit of everything. It's not
that's
like you
true.
need to just, oh, I'm going to go buy a CD today and I'm going to assume this album is good from start to finish. And if it's not, then I wasted $10. And if it is, then
Remember those
fantastic.
days? Remember those
That's,
days? Like you actually
yeah,
had
I do.
bias.
I got to find my CDs somewhere. They got to be somewhere. I love
Funny.
that though. So yeah, so this, we're recording this on April 14th. The song comes out tomorrow, and I think everyone's going to love it. Is there something about the song that maybe I didn't ask or didn't bring up that you think is really important for people to know?
Well, it will be in an upcoming docudrama titled A Haunting We Will Go
That's
by
amazing.
Christopher Garetano. Thank you. And he actually asked me, it's so crazy how, life works. Um, he actually asked me to, like, we had a meeting the day that my dog passed away, not even
Oh,
maybe a half hour
geez.
before. Yeah, and he was just talking to me, and that was like the first time we met. And we were just talking about different ideas, and he did mention writing a song about life and death and, basically like the afterlife and everything. And unfortunately, it came at,
That's
that
wild.
time where I really felt it the most and could write about that. And yeah, it was pretty deep and pretty meaningful. So
How did this collaboration happen? Because it sounds like I know a little bit about syncing deals and songs and stuff like that. Is this in line with that, or is this a separate collaboration?
yeah, this is in line with like a sync,
Okay,
collaboration. Yes. And I love his work and he liked my work and that's kind of like, I think I had
yeah,
sent him Rock Me with a Deeper Love, which you
sure.
may remember. And that was kind of when we started talking and he asked me to cover another song titled Come to Me. And that's another cover I had released. And this one, which was, my original. And it was just, it's so nice to be a part of his work and to be a part of this. So
That's
um,
really cool. Do you have any information, or can you say when this docu series is going to come out?
it should be coming out within hopefully a few months.
Awesome.
Not really sure about the specifics, but yeah, it should be out in a few months. And I will definitely keep you updated on that.
Yeah, I'm excited to, I mean, there's been very few times where it's like, yeah, my music is being used in this thing. And I think that's such a monumental moment that some people might take for granted, not you, but just like, damn, like you're finding new audiences and you might actually like,
Exactly. I think
branch out and try. Yeah, it's incredible. It's
the
incredible.
sync world is like it's great to get, your song in a movie or a show. It's great exposure. Anything, really is just
Yeah.
that's great exposure. And so many, sync deals have broken artists and songs and like why?
Yeah. Some stupid Netflix show that it's like, yeah, the show kind of sucks, but the music was really good. I
Yeah,
can't
right.
tell you
It's
how much like
worthwhile.
crap I watch on TV. It's like, yeah, I don't know why I'm watching this, but like whatever song they chose is awesome.
That's so true. It makes it worth it to watch. You're just like
What
the
I'm
show's,
saying.
but
Exactly. And we have a lot of crap TV out, so if the music can kind of build it up, then hey, that's all that matters.
right.
Awesome. My basically last thing is like, you are an artist that works so incredibly hard. And I know that you're a creative person, you're always kind of moving the goalposts, which is so difficult because it adds pressure on you. And you don't have to say too much, but it's like, what are you working on? Are there things that you're excited about? What can people get excited about in the near future?
I'm definitely working on a few new singles that it's they're really so I won't say they're so different than each other, but like I have a new pop dance song coming out titled How Do You Like It? Then I have another song that's like more of a pop rock orchestral vibe again to it, titled Letters to Myself.
Cool.
So things like, it's just so I think it's really stronger than I mean obviously as an artist you grow and you get stronger, but I think that this is like really strong material in my opinion. And I always said like, I always like to kind of perfect things until I release
Yeah,
them because, once they're out and then
yeah,
that's it for the
that's
most part.
true.
Yeah, I just want it to be like great. And yeah, I can't wait for you to hear.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And I know that so much is on the way, but before we wrap up here, of course, I want to plug everything for you. If you're watching this or you're listening to it, I'm speaking with Michelle Fabre. The song is called Never Goodbye. It's amazing. There's really not much more to say, is like, I want you to listen to it. We're going to have the links that you can listen and share and follow along and watch the video once it's out. And then also the docu-series once that's out. So you can hear it on the big screen, which is such a cool
Absolutely.
thing. Michelle, as always, it's been a pleasure getting to talk. And I know that we'll speak in the future, but yeah, thank you for your time. I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you for having me on.
You are very welcome. All right, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.